We are here in New York City, the Big Apple, and we're here for the New York Association of Towns. This is where local leaders come to discuss budgeting, to assess fiscal responsibility, and also hold training sessions. I'm Jody Kenny. And joining us on this Sunday is the new president of NIAT, Tina Ward. She talks about NIAT's top priorities for the upcoming year. Plus, Union Town Supervisor Robert Mack is also with us. He explains how he plans to finish what he started from his first term. And later, Colonie Town Supervisor Peter Crummey joins us to discuss long-term sustainability and maintaining a water delivery system. All that and more right now on this special edition of In Focus. All right, let's begin our conversation. We are here with Tina Ward. She is the new president of the New York Association of Towns. Thank you so much for joining us here on In Focus.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I watch you on television a lot, so I'm just thrilled to be here and to represent my association.
Well, I think it's really important that you're here because we really wanted to find out more about what NIAT does and why you were here all this weekend.
Well, this is our annual training and conference. So this is where we set our legislative platform to take to the state to say this is where the towns are sitting. We just went through our annual business meeting this morning. We adopted 14 resolutions as our legislative platform. Could we do more? Yes, but those were the ones. We want to secure home rule is our big one. We want more funding for our highways. There are just many of those are the two biggies, really. There are many others in there, obviously, when you have 14. And then we had 4 constitutional changes to our bylaws. So that happened this morning, and then the election of the officers. So I am incoming, elected.
Yes,
elected, yeah. So we come together not only to learn, to train, but we also set that legislative platform to also discuss things with our legislators who are our guest speakers. And the networking is
going to depend on how you're going to provide.
You can't beat it. You just can't. It's each town of the 933 towns in the state of New York, we're so different, but we're all alike at the same time. We all have to follow the same laws, but then there are local laws that are enacted for that specific area. So one town may have experienced flooding. Another town may not. So if you go through a major flood, you may go to that town and say, what did you do?
Right,
what
you can
helped
learn from each other.
Right. You had this massive fire that burned down an entire block of your small community. How are you rebuilding? What are you doing? What did you learn? What were the pluses and what were the minuses?
I think it's really important that towns get together and really share their best practices and their faults and their strengths, because I think that's how upstate New York is going to be successful. Could you talk a little bit about some of the priorities that you have set? You kind of mentioned a couple of them that you felt are most important.
Very important. As we see a transitioning happening in local government, most of the legislative positions are elected. Most of the town clerk positions are elected. So you get elected and you don't know your job at all because there is no college courses that are going to teach you how to do these jobs. You can go in for political science. You can go in for accounting or business administration, but it's a lot more than that. You're running a community. And these are where your kids go to school. This is where you shop at a grocery store. These are your roads that are being taken care of. This is your fire, your ambulance. This is all public service work. And there isn't really classes out there for public service. So what NIAT has started up is actually an education program to get people to stay involved in public service, to educate the young. So I want to see that program expand more because it's fairly new.
I
to
really
us.
love that idea because really we are trying to nurture the next generation. And you're right, there's no class out there to become either the mayor or you know
a supervisor,
a supervisor.
They're just not there.
I know that you do work though with the state comptroller. At least the
Yes.
state comptroller was here. Could you
Yes.
talk about his role with the towns?
The state comptroller, many towns are involved with the New York State retirement plan. And so under DiNapoli, he is the man that manages that entire portfolio. So if it's doing well, then our retirements are all secure, and we all rely on him for that. The biggest component coming out of his area is educating us on how to handle the money correctly and the pluses and the minuses. As we go, we have to put this out for bid. Yes, you do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, and there are certain ways to award it, and his department is right there for us, auditing us. They'll come in, do sporadic audits, or you call them up and you can say, I have a situation, I have a bond note, and we want to extend it, and how do we do this? And they're right there to help us out and to train us, or even to say, as a tax collector or receiver of taxes, this is how you handle that money. This is when you move that money. This is how you take care of it. Because it doesn't stay in those departments long. In towns, it all goes over to, in smaller towns, to the supervisor. Larger towns, then they have their own accounting department.
That's amazing that he is here to help the towns.
And he's always been here for us, always. And I started in '92 as a clerk, and I would call up anybody in that department, and ever since I've been coming to these conferences, he's always been here.
I have about 30 seconds left, and I wanted to know, you as the president of this organization, what are you looking forward to this year?
I want to see some strength in our organization with our legislators, so they really understand that we are 933 towns strong, and we are the ones that are taking care and the closest to the people in their areas, in their regions and districts. We're the ones. And we need to be listened to, and because we can help the people better than anybody else, because we're the closest to them.
Tina Ward, the New York Association of Towns president, thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So great to have you on In Focus, and we will have much more on location from New York City right after this. Thanks so much for staying with us. We are here in New York City on location for the NIOT conference, and I'm joined now by Robert Mack. He is the supervisor for the town of Union. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to talk with you because I know Union has a lot going on. You're now in your second term, and you said that you want to, quote, finish what you started. What are some of your challenges that you see for the town of Union?
Well, I think we have two major challenges that are on the radar. One is housing. Recently, there was a study done in our county that we were over 6,500 units short of being able to house and grow the community with where we're at. And so housing, we have right now probably a half dozen new housing projects on the books. We have in different stages of development. Some are just finishing, coming online, and there's another 4 or 5 that are in the planning stage still. But they're going to make a significant impact on the area, on attracting new talent, because an awful lot of people coming into the area, whether they're going to be working at Binghamton University or in some of our industries, complain that there's not the right kind of housing in the area for for that type of person. But it's housing all across the spectrum. We need low-income housing, moderate-income housing. We need the type of housing that young people can get into for their first house. And we also need higher-end housing, too, for the professionals and the professors and the people that you attract with different, with these different technology businesses that we're bringing into the town.
And it's interesting, you call it a crisis, and I have talked to a lot of leaders for upstate New York, and you are among them who call housing a crisis issue. How is that for the town of Union being such a crisis?
Well, it's again attracting talent from other areas when you don't have the type of housing they're used to and they're looking for. We still have a relatively depressed value of housing. In the town of Union, I hate to use the word depressed, I should say it's a bargain if you're coming in from someplace else. You come in from California where $1 million house in the town of Union is maybe $200,000. Right. So, I mean, in some ways it's wonderful. But people coming from California with $1 million in their pocket, they're looking for something much higher end. And we don't have a lot of that housing stock. But in the same token, too, we have so many young people that can't get into that starter home in the area. And so we really need housing all over.
Another concern that I see all across upstate New York, and it is affecting the town of Union as well, is the failing infrastructure. Could you talk about your concerns for Union when it comes to?
Well, we were given the gift of ARPA money, which was the American Rescue Act from the COVID response. And the town received $31.4 million. That is a very large amount of money. And we put over 20 million right into infrastructure. We've upgraded all of our pumping stations. We've upgraded our sewer lines. We've put a lot of money into roads, blacktop, curbs, gutters, things that we never would have been able to do in such a short time without that gift of that ARPA money. And those projects are all just starting to come to fruition now. They have to be completed by the end of 2026, or the money goes back to the federal government, and they're not getting a nickel back from me. So those projects are all really will be finished up by this summer.
What do you hope to learn from this conference?
Well, this conference, I've been coming to this conference now for 10 or 12 years at least, and I never go away without learning a lot. I bring so much back to the town. I am here with 3 of my councilmen, and we have a couple judges here, and we go back with a lot of good information. I just came out of a battery storage presentation, and we're trying to get a battery storage law on the books right now, so a lot of good information there, and I'm excited to get back and bring it to the town.
I'm interested. The CHIPS Funding Act that provided a ton of money to Syracuse for the Micron plant. How do you hope Union is going to benefit? Maybe a trickle-down effect?
Well, we're hoping there's going to be a big ripple, not trickle.
Okay.
But the CHIPS Act, of course, we're only 60 miles from Syracuse. And we are right now looking at a 550-acre corporate park that's proposed. It's still going through environmental review, 239 and SECRA. So it's not a definite thing yet, but it's an exciting concept, and we believe that it will be used, if it does happen, it's going to be support businesses for that Micron plant up in Syracuse. Also, the town of Union and the greater Binghamton area has 3 major highways. We have 86, 17, 81, and 88. So it's a perfect place for distribution of the products that will be coming out of that Micron CHIPS Act.
Well, I love hearing the ideas that you have for your town, and the fact that you're here to learn more shows that you're open to growing the town of Union. So I really want to thank you so much for joining me. Robert Mack, Supervisor for the town of Union, thank you so much for joining us here on In Focus.
Thank you so much for the invite.
And we'll be back with Colonie Town Supervisor Peter Crummey right after this short break. You're watching In Focus. Welcome back to In Focus. We are in New York City for the NIAC convention, and joining me now is Peter Crummey. He is the supervisor for the town of Colonie, and I'm so glad to have you back on In Focus.
Jody, it's always a pleasure to be with you.
Okay, so let's get to work here. You've got a lot to talk about. You've recently held your 5th State of the Town address. Can you share some of the top highlights that you are looking forward to this year?
You bet, Jody, and we stay, convinced and focused on our principles of public safety, infrastructure, and parks. And a big piece of our infrastructure is our water system as well at this time. And the town of Colonie is embarking on the greatest and most deep water main replacement project in 25 years this year. We've bonded $10 million to take care of some of the most troubled sites in the town. You can imagine, though, with 445 miles of underground pressurized pipe in this town, with 9,000 valves, 4,000 fire hydrants, there's a lot to do and to upgrade every day, and we're doing it.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more deeply about that. What are the challenges that you have to deal with, aside from the fact that you have such a large amount of property to deal with? What are some of the challenges specific to Colonie that maybe other towns or villages or cities could learn from in your experience dealing with it?
Well, we have a very talented staff of 59 water department staffers who are out there managing the system on a day-to-day basis. And we'll have as many as 170 water main breaks a year, but of course with 445 miles of pipe, that's not unusual. 2/3 of the pipe is cast iron, and that was the type of product that was typically used at the time of installation. But cast iron does not have any flexibility. So when Mother Nature, who's not the greatest partner in this with me, when she shifts from freeze to thaw, it moves the ground just ever so slightly, and that's when the cast iron snaps. We don't use cast iron anymore. In our new mains, we'll use a ductile iron, which has more flexibility to it. But nonetheless, she's out there every day challenging the brave men and women that are out there day and night repairing these lines. And hats off to our crews every day.
I always like the fact that you give your crews such a big honor by thanking them for their service. Every time we talk, you do that, so I appreciate you.
They help me keep this town rolling.
You detail long-term sustainability. What does that mean for the town of Colonie?
Well, for the town, we have to provide, I believe that sustainability begins with a sound economy. And so the Colonie needs to continue to provide that sound economy. The town, as you know, over the decades has really become the downtown of the capital region. What do I mean by that? That means where people live and work, just like a traditional downtown was a century ago. So people live in Colonie, they work in Colonie, and they play in Colonie as well, and including on the new ice rink I just opened last week for the town as well. So it's an exciting place to be, and that's the kind of, I want my children and their children to stay here in this area and in this town, and I think that providing the platform for growth and opportunity for housing is the formula to do just that.
So here's the thing, Colonie has been able to have some of the lowest taxes because you have so many businesses in your town, and yet you also have beautiful houses. Could you talk about the importance of updating infrastructure and roads and why that is so important to maintaining what you are doing so well in Colonie?
Well, Jody, as you know, and we've talked about it before, I've engaged in the most aggressive road restoration project in the town's history. And over the last 4 years, we've covered 431 town roads already, 100 miles of roads completely restored, which is better for a 20-year plan. So we won't have to go visit that again. Sometimes in years past, they might have put a little quick patch on something. We're restoring the road right down to the bedrock. And as a result, I believe that safe roads provide for safe communities. And that brings people there because they have a sense of community pride. There's nothing like coming home one day after a long day at the office and showing up and there's a brand new road outside your house for you to walk on, for your children to ride their bikes on. It's just a great opportunity, and it instills in all of us a great sense of community pride.
So true. You mentioned Pocket Park. It has been 20 years since that park has been enjoyed that way. Could you talk about the importance of, why you decided to reopen it and why you feel that the community needed this?
Jody, my first year as town supervisor 4 years ago, I knew that the town had stopped outdoor skating for 20 years. So I wanted to start it again. So I looked to our West Albany Pocket Park and we flooded the basketball and tennis courts there. And of course, once again, Mother Nature, not a great partner. Every time we would freeze it and groom it, 3 days later, it would melt. So I looked for other ways in which we could enjoy sustainable ice. And I did find federal monies that were created post-COVID to encourage projects that got people outside. And I said, well, this is perfect because a new rink would help people get outside. Sure enough, the federal government jumped aboard with me, and they have been a primary funder of this particular rink that we have because it encourages the neighbors and Colonie residents to be outside. We opened it last Friday to much fanfare, and I can tell you, even as we speak, because it's President's Week and the children are home and looking for things to do, they're out there full tilt right now.
Peter Crummey, Town of Colonie Supervisor, thank you so much. We always love having you on Unfocus.
Feelings mutual, Jody. Thank you very much. Have a great time in New York City.
Thank you. Thanks so much for watching this special edition of In Focus in New York City. I'm Jody Kenny. We appreciate you spending your time with us.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. To keep up with important issues impacting our communities and hear more conversations with the people who are shaping the future, subscribe to our channel. You can also download our app or find Spectrum News on your TV for balanced, in-depth political coverage and more.